What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears. I thought I already decided what the final lesson of this video series would be, but watching myself yap about the lessons I learned the past year provided me with yet another perspective of what it means to be alive and what it means to learn life's lessons. I'll just say it to you all straight. There is no final lesson. I scoured my tweets and notes over the past year, and yes, although there was variety, and each and every one of them tackled a very particular pain point in certain aspects of my life, there was one common denominator that I took notice of. These lessons are things that I thought I already understood. Which leads me to, although I did say that there is no final lesson, allow me to cheat a little bit here and bring this up.
I would say what ifs goes both ways, in a sense that you never truly know. Once you think you know what you're doing, you don't. And life has proven in so many ways that it is quite unpredictable. Ironically, that gives us a sense of freedom because you never really know. It goes both ways. There's this saying that I really like throwing around when someone is going through something difficult per se. I would say blessing, just like tragedy, often comes to those who least expect to be at the receiving end of it. You never know, so you just keep moving forward and eventually you'll be in a better place.
And that, folks, is the lesson. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. No, I'm just joking. Yes, I'm aware that it takes me way longer than it has to when it comes to these types of lesson videos. I am working on it, so I thought I would just get it out of the way as soon as I can in the first 2 minutes of the video. So I guess that would summarize what I meant by there is no final lesson, but I would like to elaborate on it. And if you're interested in that, in my wisdom, so to speak, allow me to discuss it even further and perhaps you might find something valuable. For context, I was going about my usual Sunday date with myself until these two strangers approached me out of nowhere and asked me for an interview. From the video, it seemed like it only took me a few seconds to formulate something wise sounding and clever, but from my perspective, mentally, it took way longer than that. I had to replay my past year and play back all the lesson videos I made, all in my head, in the matter of seconds. But again, mentally, it felt like eternity. It just happens to be that the what ifs goes both ways lesson or video title sounded the most unique and it had a certain ring to it. And it was my favorite. Not the most impactful lesson-wise, but favorite. And so that's why I went with it. So what did I mean by blessing, just like tragedy, often comes to those who least expect to be at the receiving end of it? It sounds like something Master Oogway would say. As I said in the clip, life is unpredictable. And I learned that lesson the hard way last year. All my analysis, I'm a chess player, so it was second nature, no matter how complex and deep, simply led to nowhere. I realized that you just can't outsmart or out-analyze life, at least not to the extent in which you can predict what happens next. Essentially, there are times in life where we just have to let things flow and take up the mental framing of don't think, just do. A different way of thinking about this is to remind yourself, or myself, to not intellectualize everything. Whether it be your emotions, life's lessons, your unfortunate situations. I've found myself ruminating and asking the whys. Like, why me? Why am I going through this? Why did this happen? Why did it go the way it did? Because you'll never find that why. You'll just end up in circles. The lessons we learn, the hard pills we swallow, whether by choice or by shoving down of throat, will simply come our way on their own, and we don't necessarily have to know why they do. They just do. I personally believe that there are two types of lessons in life. Please excuse me for the semantics because there are definitely loopholes or plot holes in the way I say this. In life, there are two types of lessons. Just hear me out. There are life lessons, type of lessons that you try to learn by observation, such as asking a mentor, consulting an adult, watching those regrets by old people videos and all those stuff, trying to learn a lesson before you've even gone out of your way to experience it. And then there's the second type of lesson, life's lessons. Lessons in which you can never really teach to anybody else, or you won't be able to learn from anybody else unless you experience the lesson firsthand. Hearing it from somebody else or picking it up from another person's story won't carry the true weight of the lesson. It's as if it dampens the impact of the lesson, which makes the lesson valuable. And oftentimes, these life's lessons can feel honestly incredibly cruel, but at the same time, it's kindly cruel. I myself have known that for a long time, but it just won't stick. In fact, it was one of the first quotes of wisdom I've had, but for it to be demonstrated right in front of me, in the wild, in my life, through last year's tribulations, especially with the breakup with my ex, just hits differently. There's a difference between knowing the pain and understanding the pain because you felt it. And building off of the life is unpredictable aspect, life is constantly cooking up some form of lesson for us to learn each day. You might have heard the saying, every new day is an opportunity to learn. It sounds innocent, but it fails to capture the weight of what it actually means to learn something. And when I say learn something, I mean in a sense that these are learnings that were unplanned. The second type of lessons, life's lessons. And it never ends. These lessons never end. Life will always have something in store for you as long as you are part of it. As long as you are alive. This channel, this YouTuber that came in clutch to save me from my cold Sunday mornings in the last few months of 2024 said it perfectly here.
Learn the lesson. There is always a lesson. And we think that there's not. We think that we're going through tough times and why is this happening to me? What did I do? And it's like all you did was exist. Welcome to life. This is what life does.
I mean, that's practically it. I thought I had life figured out and everything finally clicked, and that couldn't be further from the truth. I thought I was riding the waves with mastery, and I can finally say with confidence that, hey, this life thing isn't that complicated. Then everything just came crashing down the shores when I least expected them to. It is what it is, they say, and I've said it so many times, and I'll say it infinitely times many more. What exactly is it? What is it? What do you mean by it? And that's where the essence of the lesson comes into play. We may never know what it is. I've tried. I've asked so many whys. I tried to unravel as to why this led to this. I tried to intellectualize something that's totally incomprehensible to me, which is life. The it's that they refer to when they say it is what it is isn't something to be intellectualized and understood. And when I said a while ago that there is no final lesson, what I meant by that is that there is no final lesson that will have you have everything in life figured out. No type of lifestyle that will make you the most content, no ultimate solution to all your problems, no indomitable mindset that makes you invincible against life's challenges. Because life is full of surprises. I can never stress it enough. I know I tend to repeat myself, but I'll repeat this because it's so important. Life isn't predictable. That is what I meant by blessing, just like tragedy, often comes to those who least expect to be at the receiving end of it. That is so difficult to say. You just never know. We will never figure it out, and that's just how it's supposed to be. And the reason why I included the blessings part along with the tragedy is so that I can prompt people that despite the cruelty, the harsh truths, the difficult lessons, to keep going precisely because you never know what happens next. And that sense of unpredictability, as ironic as it sounds, is liberating if you try to interpret it correctly. Emphasis on interpret, not understand, because this is purely subjective and you just have to think about it in a way that will benefit you. Just see where life's lessons take you, because trying to resist them is futile. Try to untangle yourself from life and you'll simply get lost in it even further. Yes, this is cruel. But remember, I said kindly cruel. Because at the very least, these lessons, as uncomfortable, cruel, and unfair they can be, gives us enough wiggle room to bounce back and grow. And I know this will sound cliche, but in most cases, with the right decisions, we come out the other side in one piece. Perhaps with scars, yes. Realistically, even broken and simply put back together. And that's totally fine. You can watch the previous video as to why I say that. But at the end of the day, at least you made it out, right? I mean, I myself, in the incomprehensible, complicated fray I call 2024, found myself in situations where I can say these. If life can be oddly cruel, it could also be as weirdly kind. And that's why moving forward is so important. Sometimes you'll catch life being kind. I may not have the answer to the it in the it is what it is of life, but I may be able to provide you with a little bit of solace and comfort when it comes to its cruelties. It may not seem like it, but there are times where in reality and the universe can be a tad bit kinder than usual, even just for a few seconds. And that is why you must move forward, even if it's cruel. Because when you're so used to the shits of life, feeling like we've always had the short end of the stick, these fleeting moments, even mere seconds of life's gifts, when life suddenly becomes kind to us for whatever reason after so long, these gifts will feel like heaven, whatever that may be to you. Just be patient and remain humble. I myself used to be very angry at life for a plethora of things, trying to intellectualize its cruelties and unfairness. And then I realized, along with it being pointless, is that the best form of revenge against life, or one of the hardest middle fingers you could give to life, is staying kind and humble despite its constant cruelty. So friend, be an it's going to be an alright in a world full of shit. So that is all for me today. Thank you for going along with me in this 7 lessons journey. I hope this video serves any form of value, even though I go all over the place, which is something I am working on. The 7 lessons are over, which means I can finally go back to the drawing board and trying to formulate something new and potentially revolutionary, and I will make things longer than they have to be again. Yada yada yada. We'll see where this channel goes. Again, thank you for spending time with me, friend. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.